Alrighty, thanks for waiting. January 31st, Fantasy Lunch Bunch, podcast number 1.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're going to talk a lot of NFL. Week 16 is over. Last week we had a lot of big games. Carolina with their first loss.
Suckers. Yeah.
Cam Newton did not have a very good game, actually. Carolina, weird loss with Atlanta. Green Bay got killed by Arizona. Very weird as well.
Arizona's doing great. Don't worry about it, man.
Carson Palmer, he's a legit guy.
Yeah.
Not a lot of, Carson Palmer, a lot of good things going on with the Cardinals. The biggest thing with them is their depth, I would say, for...
Definitely at running back.
Yeah, absolutely. David Johnson, third string running back.
How many Johnsons do they have on that team?
Chris Johnson, David Johnson, yep.
Too many.
Larry Fitzgerald, one of the best wide receivers in the league.
Yep.
With that, I would say it's their depth. You know, they're going to get Chris Johnson back if they make it to the Super Bowl. And Andre Ellington is working his way back into the snaps, so that's very big for the Cardinals going forward. They will have a tough schedule with the NFC, with Carolina and the Seahawks, looking to be probably the favorites with the NFC for playoff pictures going to the Super Bowl. I would say you could talk the Vikings and the Packers as much as you want with the NFC.
It determines their spot, so...
Yep, and the Packers and the Vikings, I just don't think are going to have it as terrible as I hate to say it.
Aaron Rodgers too much?
No, I don't think... I'm not worried about the Packers for the Vikings. I am worried about the playoffs. The Vikings, If the Vikings win, they host Seattle.
Good game.
They play the Redskins, right, if they lose?
If they lose and Seattle loses, the Vikings should play the Redskins.
I'd feel pretty confident.
I would feel a lot better if Teddy Bridgewater was going up against the Redskins versus the Seahawks.
Because he at least win one round.
Kirk Cousins' offense, I feel like the Vikings' defense could handle it. You know, not to sell the Vikings short, they're playing really good ball right now. They've played Arizona, lost by 3 points, stuck with them the whole game, you know, and a minor mistake by Teddy Bridgewater cost it. And that's a rookie mistake. It's his second year, so he continues to grow and have good games, and then the next week they go and just destroy the Bears, and he has the best game that he's had, 4 touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. And then they go and destroy the Giants. So it's not about who you play, it's when you play, I would say.
Yeah, gotta get it to the Blair Kick Project.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Blair Walsh, 5 for 5 last week.
He's trying to be like Dan Bailey. He's trying to be accurate.
Yeah, can't be Dan Bailey.
He can't make an extra point to save his life. He's missed 5 this year,
That was
I want to say.
one, so whatever.
So Minnesota should just take a delay of game penalty 3 times and get it back to a 50 to guarantee that Blair Walsh kicks
that'll
it.
do it.
Yeah. He hasn't missed a 50-yard field goal this year.
Oh, interesting stats.
So, big game, and Blair Walsh definitely was questionable. You know, at the beginning of the year, the fans were wondering if he was going to stick around and be on the team, but he's shown that he can make it in cold game against the Giants, you know, and he nailed every kick, so that was pretty good. Green Bay, it's going to come down to their offense. If they can keep Aaron Rodgers off the ground, as the Cardinals showed that rush Aaron Rodgers, keep press man coverage on the receivers and throw his timing off, and you end the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, like, the last couple of years he's been pretty well with all, like, staying in the pocket and throwing it just fine. But, yeah, it seems like when you put pressure on him, he turns into Tony Romo.
Right? You saw that against the Carolina when he threw the tablet down.
Yep, exactly.
Missed it.
Yep, and pressure is what is going to be Aaron Rodgers' kryptonite. So, and the Packers have struggled with injuries on their offensive line, I want to say, and with the running game, Eddie Lacy hasn't been where he was expected to be at all. They've relied a lot on James Starks to get that running game going. And the Vikings defense right now is healthy, and they have Harrison Smith back, Anthony Barr. They're going to be a tough team to beat. I just worry Seattle. I don't care about the division championship as much as you would think. I mean, as I was telling you guys earlier, the Vikings have 1 more playoff appearance and 1 more division championship than the Packers since franchise history. that's a pretty cool stat because
Thanks for throwing that out there,
Standing from the
JT.
pack.
Vikings
Right?
are pretty good.
Yes.
so. Well, I only say that because the Packers are, probably one of the top 3 teams as far as
definitely.
fan-wise.
So,
you know.
yeah, to be
Sure.
honest,
Cowboys
it's
are
pretty
probably
cool.
number 1.
Yeah,
American baby.
Nationwide, yep, America's team. The Packers would be in there, and then
Redskins are definitely up there. Too.
yeah, or the
Believe it-
Raiders
believe it or
maybe.
not.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
right.
So
Those fans have a good time.
I like that stat. It shows that the Vikings are scrappy and that they can win, and it's good.
Fun stat, I believe with Arizona, if everything goes right, I don't remember what sequence they have to go through, but they could play the same 2 teams. So they play Seahawks this week, right? And they played Green Bay last week. So if I forget what the events have to be, but should be that they could play the same 2 teams in a row
That's
in
right.
the playoffs. So I thought that was pretty funny when I seen that. I was like, oh gosh,
Oh, for sure.
go for them.
So very good. I would say Vikings Green Bay's game of the week.
Yeah,
Got flexed to
week
Sunday
seven.
night.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
for the week
absolutely.
for sure.
Got
for sure.
flexed to Sunday night in the middle of the game, which was pretty unique, and obviously that's big if they flex the game to national television. With that, I would say, it all just comes down to the playoffs. The division championship is spoken for. If the Vikings win, that's great. If Green Bay wins, the Vikings are still in the playoffs, so it doesn't really affect that at all. Going into AFC.
Yeah, Mike, why don't you take that for us?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit
AFC.
about the AFC?
Well, obviously you got Patriots as top dog right now. They're kind of the team to beat. Bengals, if they can work on getting Dalton back and healthy, and he can shake his playoff mishaps
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
past, can kind of pick that up, then they're definitely up there too, because they play very well on defense. They've got a great front 7. They're back 4 even in the secondary. They get after that.
And
They
what's
get
that guy
the
on
ball.
the Bengals we were talking about? You said his name because I couldn't remember it. It starts with a Z, I think. The linebacker who.
Vontez perfect.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very
So I was way
solid
off,
middle
yeah.
linebacker.
Very solid middle
He's got a
linebacker.
Z in the middle of his
Um,
first name.
The unique thing though will be is if AJ McCarron is the starting quarterback or if Andy Dalton will be the starting quarterback.
For sure.
I don't like AJ McCarron. I mean, he's
Roll Tide.
right. Yep. So he's just a rookie. He throws a lot of high balls, which I think is going to get a lot of people hurt. Down the line. So AJ Green,
Yeah.
one of the main weapons. A lot of the throws that I've seen are high. And that's okay because it still is a completion, and AJ Green can go up and get him. But if you throw a high ball across the middle,
Yeah, you don't want to leave him hanging.
he's going to be high and dry.
Yes.
So,
And then he's going to get hit.
yep, I do think AJ McCarron's arm is strong. I like his confidence. I like how he compares himself to Tom Brady. It's just not his time. It's not a rookie playoff situation for the
yeah,
Bengals. And I think if Dalton's
agree.
healthy, you play him.
Oh yeah,
You
for
know.
sure.
But I think the Bengals will hold off if he has any sign of injury.
Yeah, they
'Cause
don't.
it's his thumb.
Yeah, they don't want to risk
Right.
anything.
So if you can't throw, you can't play.
Yeah,
So if
exactly.
there's any sort of injury or anything like that with his thumb, I think they're going to ride with McCarron. And he does enough. I mean, they can win games. They played strong against the
How long ago?
just last weekend. They played
Broncos.
Broncos. Thank you.
Very close game. Went into
Close
overtime.
game, yeah. Went into overtime,
Oh,
and
right.
Rossweiler did end up with the win over that. And very similar situation. I mean, those two teams are almost in the exact same situation. You have Peyton Manning, a veteran quarterback who we all know and love as the number 1 quarterback of the last probably 5 to 10 years, comparable to Tom Brady. The argument that we always talk about.
Oh gosh, yes.
But he's not in. And I think this is the right scenario. And they talk that his foot is getting better and he might play or he's going to back up Rossweiler. I think at this point in time, he just needs to be done. I think Peyton Manning is done.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. I believe this should be his last season, you never know. These guys are very proud people.
Oh yeah.
They like to, if they think they can play, they like to come back and play another year. So it wouldn't surprise me if he tries to come back again next season. However, the Broncos would certainly like to get him at a reduced price.
Yeah.
Especially with Brock Osweiler due for a new contract at the end of the season.
Oh yeah.
So, and that's the thing too. So, Peyton Manning, I mean, the legend. Do you pay him to be a second string sideline teacher to Osweiler?
See, the thing is, that's kind of his preference. If he wants to do that, otherwise I could see him taking a Brett Favre route and
Going to another team.
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
another team and letting his.
So, and that's a
successor-
good example, actually. I was going to bring him up because they're similar in age when they started to, be criticized about their career and things like that. Nobody questioned Brett Favre's arm when he was 40.
Oh yeah.
It was,
There's like
he's old, he'll get hit, and he's going to get hurt.
Yep.
Nobody was like, Brett Favre just
he
can't
lost
make
a
those
step,
throws
yeah.
that he used to. That's all you heard about Peyton Manning from the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say his, a vein's popping out of his head because he looks like he's trying to throw the ball so hard, and it's only a 30-yard pass. So there's definitely those things where his age is catching up to him, and I think, he's a legend. He'll go to the Hall of Fame and all those things.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's just time. And just like Brett Favre, it was hard for a lot of people to watch him go away. And he played for so long, like 17 years or whatever it was. And it's going to be the same for Peyton Manning. He's going to get standing ovations in Indianapolis and Denver. And it's just time for a legend to say that he's done.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh no. I'm in the same boat.
You gotta know when your time is up, and his time seems to be up so far.
Well, and as you keep playing, you look at like Matt Hasselbeck for the Colts,
Yeah.
right?
He's still okay.
40 years old, he starts a game, leaves, goes to the locker room because he gets hurt,
Yeah.
comes back out, finishes the game, but
It's a lot better than John Kitna.
Well, and I
Got him
mean-
one time. He's like, okay, I'm gonna sit down now.
but to those points is, it's because of his age. that
Oh,
those,
of course.
Those hits and all those things start to add up to injuries. So I think Peyton Manning will hang it up this year. If anything, I could see him being a backup, and who wouldn't want Peyton Manning on the
Yeah,
sideline?
seriously.
When
Seriously.
Osweiler's like,
Great,
dude, I
great
don't
teacher.
see what's going on. Peyton Manning's like, whoa, hey man, DirecTV, blah blah blah. You got the Sunday ticket, so let's rewind this, and I'll show you exactly what.
Yeah,
happened,
seriously. Yeah.
Good DirecTV.
I feel like
thing
it would
for
be-
Peyton Manning, but who wouldn't want that? If he left the Broncos and the Vikings were like, we want Teddy Bridgewater, but we're gonna sign Peyton Manning as the backup. How much stuff is Teddy Bridgewater gonna learn?
Oh, an awful lot.
You
Because
know.
that was the same way with the Patriots when Tom Brady was taking over. Because he watched Drew Bledsoe for a
Mhm.
couple years before that. And
Same with
so-
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Watch Brett Favre.
Yep.
it's
Oh
serious.
yeah.
And like we said already, it's the same situation. Favre left. The Packers didn't re-sign Favre because Rodgers was on his last year of his deal, and they felt that he was the future and Favre was the past, so they
Boy, were
moved
they
forward.
right.
And
Yeah.
so
You know?
Favre paid dividends.
Favre definitely got a little bit of a last laugh. I mean, taking the Vikings to the NFC Championship and everything like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny how these situations work out, and I hope Manning just ends it, because that was the most annoying thing about the Brett Favre was, I retire, oh, I'm going to go play for the Jets. I retire again, oh, I'm going to go play for Minnesota because they signed me 1 year for whatever millions of dollars that it was.
It's hard to
Peyton
turn
Manning's
down money.
above that, and I think he's smarter than that, and I don't think he'll do that to
He
the
does
league.
enough commercials. He's
Ish.
probably
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. I don't think that'll be the case, but I don't want it to be the case for him either. I'd rather just see him leave honorably,
Yeah.
be done as the first or second best quarterback to Tom Brady in our generation. So,
Yeah. Whatever they want to put him at. I understand.
definitely. So continuing with the AFC, we can move on to New England going up against the Jets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big game. Brandon Marshall, I believe, had 2 touchdowns, almost 200 yards receiving. definitely went off against New England, and the biggest thing that we would go into is the overtime scenario. Did you guys watch this game at all? See the scenario?
Missed it.
Overtime, the Jets and the Patriots are both sitting out for the coin toss, and the Patriots win the coin toss, and they elect to kick the ball. I don't understand it. I guess, I don't think anybody really understands, except that they would say that New England was in a position to make the Jets go 4 and out, get the ball, kick a field goal, and end the game.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
what I
if
was
the-
going to allude to is maybe, it might be kind of a stretch, but I feel like Belichick could have thought that, well, if we give the Jets the ball first, they have to go down and score a touchdown to beat us.
Yeah, they have to play against our
Whereas we can
defense.
go through and
We're gonna mow through
get
them.
the ball second, come down and at least hit a field goal
Yeah.
to win it.
It was definitely a different strategy than what people are used
Yeah,
to. But
Most people will elect to
we'll take the
receive
ball.
in that
We'll
situation.
go ahead and try to get a touchdown. It's fine.
But so, 2 things happened with that. So now the Jets are looking great for playoffs. And,
Yeah. 10-5.
Ryan Fitzmagic, man.
An interesting stat I saw about Ryan Fitzpatrick the other day.
Fitzmagic.
It was Fitzpatrick, excuse me. Was through the Jets' first 10 games, they were 5-5, and he threw, I believe, 13 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, give or take a few. 'Cause I'm
Okay.
just going off of
So
memory.
not great stats.
Yeah.
1 for 1 almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
50% almost.
Very
interceptions.
close.
Yeah.
And in his last 5 games, the Jets are 5-0, and he's thrown 13 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Crazy.
Dang.
Turnovers win games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Win or
well,
lose.
not having
They
turnovers.
throw games.
Yeah, definitely a good stat. You know, it shows your turnover ratio decides the game. I think of the Ravens just as a really quick stat. They came into the game against the Steelers as a -15 ratio turnover team. So that means they lost 15 turnovers to their 1 that they would gain the ball back. That's a bad stat. The Steelers threw 3 interceptions, maybe 1 fumble as well. So turnovers, regardless of how bad your team is, wins the game. You can't turn the ball over 5 times and win the game. If you do,
for sure.
you're lucky.
Oh gosh.
But it does not happen.
I watched Tony Romo turn the ball. He threw 4 interceptions, and then there's a couple fumbles against Buffalo a few years ago when Buffalo was really bad, and they pulled out that game. I don't remember by how much, but it was
Cowboys did?
Yeah, the Cowboys.
So
I was like, oh my gosh! It just shows. I don't know if it showed how good Romo could be, or how bad Buffalo was at the time. But I like Tony Romo. Don't get rid of him.
So who's to blame for the coin toss for Jets and Patriots?
Well, the reports are that Belichick told him to do that.
He did.
So it's on Belichick. That's what he wanted to do, and that's the difficulties of coaching though, because
Absolutely.
if it works out and they
he's
get the
the
ball,
all-star
go down
there.
and score,
Yeah,
then
we
he's
have
a
a different
genius,
conversation.
but- exactly.
You're totally right. Nobody's ever going to question Belichick. I mean, he's a genius. He knows his things. He's a matchup man. He's going to eliminate the best matchups to win the game. He took a shot, and like Mike said, if it works, he's brilliant. If they go for it on 4th down and they make it, he's brilliant. If they miss it, he's an idiot. And that's just the life of being a head coach. You know, Chip Kelly is figuring that out right now. You know, he destroyed the running game for the Eagles and lost games, and that's how you lose your job. So, it is a no-nonsense kind of business, and Belichick's obviously not in any worry of those things, but...
You know who still has their job? Tom Coughlin.
Yeah.
For now.
For now. Interesting, yeah. I would wonder what Jerry Jones is thinking. But keeping on with the AFC, Kansas City
Yes.
might be one of the best teams in the NFL right now.
And I wanted to look at them a little bit ago when we were talking about playoffs. They are definitely the hottest team in football right now, especially with Carolina's loss last week to Atlanta. They have won 9 straight games, the Chiefs have, which, of course, means now, with their 10-5 record, when they still had Jamal Charles, their best offensive weapon and arguably one of their maybe their best player on their roster in general, was playing, they were 1-5. Now that he is hurt, they've won 9 straight games because they play well on defense. They've got Justin Houston, Tamba Hali that can get after the quarterback. They've got some good secondary players, and Marcus Peters, I believe, is the rookie corner who is potentially up for defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Tearing it up. Derek Johnson, a solid middle linebacker there,
Absolutely.
holding things down. And then Alex Smith, he's really revamped his career since coming over from the 49ers. He plays smart, takes care of the ball,
I heard
and he's got some weapons.
I heard an interesting comparison with Alex Smith, that he is the developed Johnny Manziel. The Manziel that could be in 3 to 5 years. Alex Smith is fast. He started off slow, you know. I mean, he didn't have a great career and all those things in San Francisco. But the game slows down as you keep playing, and that's what's apparent to Alex Smith right now. Is he's playing at a high level. He's not afraid to use his feet. He's fast.
No, yeah.
He's a runner, you know.
He's more athletic than you think just by looking
absolutely.
at him.
He's the scrawny little dude, and you would think that he's just gonna rifle out the passes, and then all of a sudden he's gone, you know, and he just takes off. And I loved that comparison to he's the future Johnny Manziel, if Johnny Manziel
gets his act together.
Yeah.
I know.
pulls his
Because
head out
when
of
the
his
game
ass.
slows down for the players too, that's putting hours in, not partying and watching game tape.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that you can realize, you can see what the defenses are doing to you, so you can go back out on the field and know in the moment just by looking at what they're putting out in front of you. Where obviously Manziel has to get that experience continued.
Going on in the AFC, we could move on to the Texans.
Yeah.
The Texans and the Titans.
Texans and the Titans played last week.
Yeah,
Titans are, I believe, the worst offense in the league.
that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
And their lone bright spot so far this season has been Marcus Mariota, the rookie second overall pick, and he was out with an injury.
Oh,
So
lovely.
Zach Mettenberger came in his
You know, I
rookie-
would say Mariota, great quarterback. I mean, Oregon, just you can't explain what he did in that school. It's almost like all these quarterbacks that start off very, very fast. Andrew Luck kills it right away. Mariota threw 5 touchdowns, I think, in his first game. First game,
against Tampa Bay.
right?
Yep.
So
Dang.
it all catches up, and that's what happened to Mariota. The game caught up to him. They start to rely on him, and the other teams know this. I mean, think of the receiving corps for the Titans. Delaney Walker is probably their main guy, right? I mean, Bishop Sankey, I think, has been battling injuries all year.
Yeah, and
And
I mean,
I
he's a
wouldn't say
running
that
back.
he's a go-to guy.
No.
I mean, you know, when you only have 2 people on your team that can really move the ball and make big plays, you're not going to do anything. That would explain why they struggle.
And it's taken them to the late weeks of the season here now to get their receiver Dorial Green Beckham, the big receiver out of Missouri, going too. He's fairly raw player who they feel has some potential in him, but he's still learning the game and getting back.
Yeah,
Getting
and that's a
back
lot
into
to
it.
ask from a rookie wide receiver.
Yeah.
So, definitely a big thing with the Titans. I mean, the Texans, holy cow, the team that you would thought, I mean, was done halfway through the year. I mean, they weren't winning games. They were getting clobbered. Their defense wasn't great. I mean, you knew J.J. Watt was putting in everything that he had, but they just weren't getting it done. And
Yeah,
Now-
Watt really wasn't making an impact in the
Mhm.
beginning of the year. Now he's finally making an impact. From what I've heard, Jadeveon Clowney, is starting to finally show up the way they've expected him to
what
be.
a tough transition. I mean, he was a humongous defensive lineman.
Oh, yeah.
Moved to linebacker.
Yes, in
So-
the 3-4 scheme. Yep.
I mean, that's a pretty big transition from getting into a 3-point stance and
taking your hand out of the ground and
yeah.
standing him up to rush the passer. And,
and filling gaps and everything. And I mean, the guy's a monster, so there's no question that he can't handle it. But it's just crazy how other coaches and things see those. Like, no, you're a linebacker.
Yeah.
You know, so pretty big. And I like the Texans with their D and how they just are scrappy. They get it done with the quarterback.
Brandon Weeden.
Right now.
The most recent quarterback on the team.
Most recent quarterback, right?
Yeah.
They just find a way to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And do I think the Texans will go deep into the playoffs? No. I think the AFC could be won by any team, but the Texans probably. I just don't see anybody beating the Patriots unless they don't get anybody back from their injuries. Cincinnati is just playing good ball. I just don't see the Texans matching up against any of those teams down the line.
No, I mean, especially if the Texans have to play the Patriots. As we mentioned before, Belichick likes to take your best offensive weapon out of the game plan. And the Texans only have one offensive weapon that they rely on heavily in DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
And once you get past him, like, what's left? Arian Foster's been hurt. Alfred Blue is effective at times.
Yep, Mike, I totally agree with everything you're saying there, but for the sake of time, we're going to keep moving on with a new topic here. Top quarterback who has every skill required to win the Super Bowl this year. And I'm not talking, because they're great. Who you think will win the Super Bowl at quarterback and why?
So I think Cam Newton's got what it takes. And why? Because he extends plays. If there's a blitz coming, he sees it. He'll roll out. He'll take it if he needs to, but he extends the play for sure. 33 touchdowns is fantastic. 3,500 passing yards. So yeah, he's where it's at. He's gonna take it this year.
Yeah, no question. Skill wise, the Cam Newton has what it takes. I just feel like the weapons aren't as strong for Cam Newton to make those kind of plays. He relies heavily on Greg Olsen, who has been getting banged up because he has been relied on heavily. Jonathan Stewart as well, who does take that relief off the middle, struggling a little bit with injury as well. He's not even sure if he's going to play this week, but no doubt Cam Newton's, changing the quarterback position. The guy is Superman. When he warms up and he's standing out there, he's just wearing like Under Armour. He looks like one of those statues in the mall, rocking an Under Armour shirt.
Yeah.
The guy is built like a brick shit house. And I like what Cam Newton does. He scores a touchdown, and he's an idol to these kids, and he makes sure he takes that ball and hands it to the kids. So I like Cam Newton a lot. It's interesting. Carolina's lost one game this year, but they haven't been compared to the Patriots when they went undefeated. Nobody this year has said, oh man, Carolina's going to go undefeated. When the Patriots were undefeated, that's all we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
It was the Patriots are going to go.
Because it was a different dynamic then, too. Because with the Patriots that year, they had Randy Moss and a couple different weapons. I think they might have had Aaron Hernandez maybe at that time.
Yep.
I'm not 100% on that. But they had that. They had a great defense as well. Playmakers all around. They had Lawrence Maroney in the backfield, I believe. So everybody thought, yes, they can do this. They have the great Tom Brady, the great Bill Belichick. Whereas the Panthers, like Ron Rivera was on the hot seat last year for potentially getting fired.
Mm-hmm.
Like their defense is young but improving. Josh Norman comes out of nowhere this season and is one of the top corners in the league.
Yeah, definitely putting Odell Beckham to shame.
For sure. And you got Kelvin Benjamin tearing his ACL at the beginning of the season, so it's like, well, who's Cam Newton throwing the ball to?
Absolutely.
James Stewart in the backfield, known for being injury prone. It's just not the same feel.
Right. Ted Ginn Jr., one of the main weapons also. Drops a lot of balls though. I mean, the guy can be
World-class
wide
speed,
open.
but
Yeah, world class
Can't
speed.
catch the ball.
Well, holy cow, man! He's got boulders for hands, and he will make great catches, and that's what matters. But I have watched that guy drop some deep bombs and hit him right in the hands. It's a bad ratio, and that's got to be frustrating to the team. But the thing with the Panthers is they find a way to win, whether they need their defense to step up. They haven't been the last couple weeks, but Luke Kuechly and all those guys are just
Quan Short, Thomas Davis.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can go
Rick
on and on
Vance's
about their
career.
defense, and that's what really helped Carolina at the beginning of the year. And now that they've kind of lulled a little bit and haven't been stopping as much, it's affected them, and you can see that as they lost to Atlanta. So I like Cam Newton a lot. I think that is a good pick, and the Panthers are definitely an NFC favorite, I would say. And Cam Newton's, if he doesn't win MVP, I mean, I couldn't see why anybody else would win MVP over that man. So moving on to Money Mike for QB of choice here.
Well, for my NFC QB, I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. He's been there, done that, has won a Super Bowl with the Packers. They've been in the playoffs a lot lately. I can't give you the exact stat on that. He throws the ball well, spreads it around, knows what he's looking at, and he also knows how to get out of the pocket when he's in trouble. He's not overly athletic like Cam Newton is. He's not overly big and strong like Cam Newton is. He's not fast like Russell Wilson, but he can get away in times of need.
Yep.
When he's
Stretching
got
the
the
play out.
opportunity to,
Absolutely.
to stretch the play, give those receivers an extra chance to get open for him.
But the thing with Aaron Rodgers is Jordy Nelson. He lost his number one wide receiver last year, and it's shown. He's really had to deep dive and find the receiving core with. I mean, Richard Rodgers has really stepped up, and
Oh gosh, yes.
yeah, I mean, the guy was unheard of for a while, and now he's still not a huge factor, but yeah, he caught the game-winning pass against Detroit.
Yeah.
He's had multiple touchdowns, and Aaron Rodgers has just really had to find new talent on the team. I mean, he's still got Randall Cobb, James Jones.
And, and I was
The
going to
hoodie.
bring James Jones up. Yeah.
the hoodie high school football player there.
Yeah.
Looking like he's rocking a hoodie for a soccer game back in like middle school or something under his jersey.
Yeah.
I don't understand that, but when he wears the hoodie, he plays well. I like that. The biggest thing with the Packers is their run game. I would say it's very streaky. Eddie Lacy has been unreliable. He's hit or miss.
And really the same with James Starks,
Yeah.
too. One game he's
Phenomenal
on.
athlete. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
when he's not keyed on, you lose, and because he will blow up in your face.
And he can catch the ball out of the
He can
backfield
catch,
as
yeah.
well. He adds an extra dynamic to the game.
But it's just been streaky, inconsistent. What's the Packers head coach name?
Mike McCarthy.
Thank you. McCarthy is just all over the place. I mean, he gives it to Lacy, he gives it to Starks, and then Eddie Lacy will sit a quarter, and then Starks will play. And I mean, Eddie Lacy was late to curfew one night and didn't play the whole second half. I mean, there's just a weird thing going on with the Packers right now. At
It's
this
like
time
either
of the
one of the
year,
running backs want the starting
Something,
job, like you said.
yeah,
When
it's
when
like-
one of them leapfrogs the other one and gets the time, he ends up in the doghouse because he doesn't play well
right?
during that time.
Yeah.
Run away with the job.
Stark starts and maybe gets 15 attempts and for less than 20 yards, and Eddie Lacy's had multiple low yardage games.
Sure.
So I mean, and that's a big factor in the running game. Is what is going to open up those opportunities for Aaron Rodgers. So I mean, Eddie Lacy had a breakout year last year. They also had Jordy Nelson as well, and Randall Cobb and James Jones and all those things as well. So it's funny how one player can be such an impact, but Jordy Nelson's a monster. I mean, the guy's speed and everything has really affected the Packers. And I mean, it's sad to say that 17 weeks have gone by and we're still talking about if the Packers had Jordy Nelson, they'd be really, really good. But that's the case. I mean, they didn't find anybody to fill that hole, and that's what I think is going to affect the Packers. And as Arizona showed, putting pressure on Aaron Rodgers is the way to win the game. I mean, they had 7 sacks, I think, that game, just against that alone. And Aaron Rodgers had a couple interceptions as well, I believe. And they really showed that the Packers are a beatable team this year. You know, nobody roots against the Packers for the most part. Aaron Rodgers is Mr. 2-minute.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I will because I'm a Vikings fan. And yeah, I'll root against anybody who plays the Packers. But when it comes down to it, you're like, oh, it's Aaron Rodgers. You know, so something's happened with the Packers, and it'll be interesting to see what happens next year. But I don't see them to be the Super Bowl team. I think they'd really have to run the table. But, like to Mike's point, if Aaron Rodgers is going to be your Super Bowl quarterback, I'm fine with that. He's going to get it done. You know?
Sure.
Absolutely. So, I like that decision, and I think Green Bay has a very tough task, just like the Vikings do, coming ahead. And I'd love to say that my choice would be Teddy Bridgewater, but next year maybe we'll see. The guy has grown into be a great quarterback and doesn't turn the ball over, which I love. So that's why I like Teddy Bridgewater. But my choice would actually be Russell Wilson. 68% completion percentage for the season so far, which is big. He's only 2 touchdowns behind Cam Newton, 31. And the guy can just make things happen. You think he's going to go down for a loss, and he squeezes out of the sack and
Oh man, I've seen a lot of times.
runs out of the
Gosh,
pocket
man.
and finds, Doug Baldwin or whoever, Tyler Lockett, Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham got injured, but all those guys find a spot and make it happen. I don't think Marshawn Lynch will be healthy. Hopefully,
As far as
by
I'm
the Super
aware.
Bowl, maybe. But that's the thing. I mean, you look at the Seahawks, and they've battled with injury. I mean, they've had Marshawn Lynch go down with the abdomen injury, and he really hasn't done anything all year. And then they had Thomas Rawls just come out of nowhere and tear it up, but then gets injured with his ankle. So the Seahawks have definitely had that battle. I like Russell Wilson, and I think it's the experience. Pete Carroll, I mean, a phenomenal coach and has been there before, and that's why I would choose Russell Wilson, is because of the experience. He's been there how many times? Twice?
Yeah,
Twice
already, right?
In a row.
In a row. So he knows what he's doing. It's not. So that's one thing you could say about the Vikings is all these guys are so young that come playoff time, they have never been in this scenario before. It's a totally different ball game. It's one and done. Russell Wilson has been there. He's dealt with it. He's gone through the swings, and this is just a normal ride to him. So the NFC, man, is going to be the league to watch, I would say, over the AFC as far as exciting games, as far as close games. The AFC, anybody can win that thing, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure. And I mean, with the NFC too, you've got all these quarterbacks that are proven winners. They can play, minus obviously, no offense, but Teddy Bridgewater is a rookie. This will be his first, or not a rookie, second-year player. This will be his first postseason appearance. Whereas, you get Cam Newton in there. He's pretty new to the postseason. Hasn't
But he's played
necessarily
for
been
5
there
years.
much. Has played for 5 years, but the postseason's a different stage. I mean, you look at Carson Palmer, the next guy I'm going to mention, where he's struggled in the postseason. He's always been considered a very good quarterback through the years with his time in Cincinnati and now in Arizona. But he always struggles in the postseason.
He transitioned that to Andy Dalton perfectly.
Yeah,
Carson
exactly.
Palmer doesn't win playoff games, and neither does Andy Dalton.
Exactly.
So he taught him that. But yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying, and the AFC is very spread. I mean, they have a lot of talent, and the NFC, like you were saying, I have no idea who's going to win that. You know, I mean,
the NFC is very talented, and every single one of those teams in there are dangerous.
All right, guys, we're gonna transition over to top NFC teams. Who do you guys think? We'll go JT.
top 2 NFC teams. I am going to say the Panthers, obviously. Actually, I'm going to change that. I don't like how the Panthers have been playing the last couple weeks. So I'm going to say the Cardinals and the Seahawks.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Cardinals, I think, are the best offensive team in the league. Actually, the best team in the league right now, hands down. Defensively, Bruce Arians, man. The guy just comes from success. Coaching Andrew Luck at the Colts, and he is good with quarterbacks, and he makes plays. I really like Bruce Arians as far as his energy and things that he brings to the Cardinals. So I like them, and I like Seattle. I hate to say it because I really wish I could say Minnesota. Maybe if I don't say it, it'll just happen, and I'll just ride that
There you
to
go.
the Super Bowl, which
There
I'd be
you go.
fine with. But
Yep.
Seattle, they make plays. You know, they did lose to the Rams, which was interesting to me just because they have been playing really good ball, but to lose to the Rams on a team that doesn't matter right now, kind of like what the Steelers did. And I think they'll bounce back, and as we'll look back at it in a couple weeks, we'll see who's right. And I say Seattle and Arizona for my NFC teams.
Nice, very nice. Mike, how do you
And
feel?
the Vikings secretly.
Mike, how do you feel about the NFC? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I've got to start with the Cardinals as well. It's just hard to argue any team that's playing up to their level right now. You know, you're on your third string running back technically, and he's still scoring touchdowns, still just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than Chris Johnson and Andre Ellington were, and that running back, of course, David Johnson. I'm talking about there, and they just keep plugging in new players with their new depth. You know, 2 weeks ago, I think it was the Honey Badger Tyrann Mathieu went down with a torn ACL, and it really didn't even slow the defense down at all. They've got a good front four that'll get after you with Darnell Dockett, and they just get up in there. They get the job done. Patrick Peterson does a great job on the edge. They still have the aging, but can still get the job done. Dwight Freeney to come around, use his patented swim move.
And there's no
Strip
question
sack.
that they've been faced with
Adversity.
adversity. Yeah, I mean, losing their top 2 running backs. Chris Johnson out of nowhere is having a season that, you didn't think CY2K or whatever we used to call him.
C2K.
C2K could ever have that again, and opened it up, and he still had Andre Ellington who got injured and things like that. So it's like they've really just had to roll with the punches, but it's never slowed them down, right? Like you said,
Yeah.
David Johnson gets the start, kills it, 3 touchdowns or whatever he had his first game. It's never slowed them down, and I think that's a big contributor to Bruce Arians. He is a matchup guy, and he's going to show them where they can be successful, even if it's their 3rd string or their 4th string guy. David Johnson, they're like, here we go, we're going to run you this way, and it works. So the guy definitely knows what he's doing, and the Cardinals are going to be a tough team to beat, definitely.
For sure.
All right, so
Cardinals and
And then my second team, as much as it pains me to do it, I'm gonna go with the Packers.
Yeah.
Just because,
Mike likes the
Like-
pack, man.
like I
secretly,
went with
Does he?
before,
He's trying to kill me over here.
nothing against you and the Vikings. I really am not a Pack fan at all, but I just like the way they're built. Like I said, Rodgers can get the job done. He is the kind of quarterback that can put the game on his back and get the job done. When you're least expecting it, the Packers seem to get the job done. Their first Super Bowl win in 2012 over the Steelers, they made it into the postseason, I believe, with a 9-7 wild card record. And then
Mike just
won
dropping
their
the
way
here.
to the Super Bowl, including the Super Bowl, and they still got Clay Matthews. Julius Peppers can get after the
Yep,
ball,
yep.
get after the quarterback. Mike Daniels has stepped up and shown he can get after the quarterback.
Mhm.
It's just they're a little bit weak with the back end of their defensive backfield. Their safety play has been a little bit weak with
Which has
Micah
always
Hyde
been a
and
stronger
Clinton
point
Dix.
for the Packers. Is
Ever since Charles Woodson,
absolutely. I was just about to
walked,
say Woodson is. God, I hated that guy.
Mhm.
Like, he just ruined the Vikings, and they've always had a strong secondary, which was what the Packers were. Well, I mean, with Reggie White and stuff, they had that D line year, but yeah, the secondary for the Packers was what tore things up. You know, they'd make turnovers, like you said. Woodson was just, oh my gosh.
Yep.
So, and yeah, Clinton Dix. I swear the announcers just love when that guy makes a play, just so they can say his name. But
yeah,
they
best name
it's
in all of
changed,
football.
like you said. Yeah, they just don't have. They have Clay Matthews, and you know their defense is great. It'll be interesting. Yeah, it'll be. I think. Now, and I feel like this happened last time when the Vikings played the Packers for the division championship. Or no, I'm sorry, just for the Vikings to get into the playoffs, the Vikings beat the Packers. Right? Last game of the year, got the Vikings into the playoffs. Vikings played the Packers the next game, first round of the playoffs, got beat. That might have been the 2012 year, actually. They can definitely get it done. Oh, their defense, yeah, their secondary.
Oh yeah, 2010 or 2012.
2012, yeah.
yeah.
Minnesota, they beat Minnesota.
24-10,
Yeah.
right? So, it happens, and that's what I'm worried is going to happen. And I think if the Packers do not play well Sunday night, they will not advance in the playoffs past the first round. I think
That's fair.
because it will be a consistent trend that they have not played well the last few weeks. And I stick to the quote of it is not who you play, it is when you play them.
Yeah.
Right? So the Vikings are playing hot ball right now. They're being competitive, and that's the ultimate situation that I would love to go into the playoffs as. As the Packers, man, I would hate to go in losing my last two games. Because, man, the momentum's not with you at that
Oh
point.
yeah,
you know?
I agree.
So, it's going to be interesting. The NFC North is a weird little roller coaster every year, and
Yep.
the Vikings and Packers and Lions all like to play close. And well, the Bears do too, but yeah, it's been the Vikings and Packers the last couple years, and they've really gone at it each year. And so I'm excited for that game, and I think it's going to be the big game of the week. So moving on, we're doing AFC.
Yeah, AFC
Top
teams.
two AFC teams. Or you did do your NFC.
I didn't do my
teams.
NFC.
Yeah,
That's
go ahead,
okay.
Jacob.
Yeah.
The J string.
I'll keep it.
NFC.
I'll
The
keep it
J
short and
string.
sweet. Then I'm liking the Cardinals, and I'm also liking the Panthers.
All
I'm
right.
liking the Panthers more. Cam Newton does a lot of work, and then definitely good big target Greg Olsen there. Hopefully John Stewart gets healthy and gets back on the field, and then Palmer's got a lot of people to throw to. Definitely a good lineup there.
Fitzman.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick.
Michael Floyd,
Yeah.
John Brown,
Floyd,
and
John
David
Brown.
Johnson
There you go.
on the
There you go.
backfield.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep. All right. That was my short and sweet
Absolutely.
version
So-
of that.
Jacob's going with the top two teams in the NFC, the
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers and the Arizona Cardinals. Money Mike is going with the Arizona Cardinals and the Green Bay Packers. And I went with Seattle and Arizona.
Nice.
So, good little mix
So
here.
Arizona
We'll ride
across the board.
Arizona across the board. Arizona,
Yeah.
hands down, is playing the best
Yeah.
football in the league. It'll just be interesting as well to see how they handle the postseason with Carson Palmer and all those things. So, I have big faith in Bruce Arians, and I like his little hat. It must help him. So,
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and move on to the AFC. We cut Jacob or the J string short there,
It's all
so
good, man.
we'll move on to AFC and let him go first here.
Sure, I'll take it. So in the AFC, I like New England. Feeling confident about. They've been there before. They've done it. They know how the playoffs works, and Tom Brady's a fantastic quarterback. Still has a pretty good amount of targets to throw to. Their defense is very strong. Gronkowski continues to pull off crazy stuff, and yeah, so good stuff on New England. And then on the Bengals also, Andy Dalton, as long as he gets if he can get back into the swing of things, after his injury, feeling pretty confident about them doing very well.
J
in the
String
playoffs.
playing it safe. I like it. The top two teams.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Both
man.
divisions.
Yeah.
Hey, it can play out that way. No doubt in my mind that. Well, the Patriots, I just don't know. You can't ever bet against Tom Brady, but that loss against the Jets and injuries are going to be
Oh, yeah.
kryptonite to the Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
And if they don't get David Amendola and Danny Amendola and Julian Edelman back, they're going to be in trouble. I mean, you can only rely on Gronk so much. If I was the defense, it's like, oh, where's the ball going? It's going to Gronk. Most likely, right? So I do like the Patriots. Nobody doesn't like the Patriots as far as the Super Bowl contender. Cincinnati, they're a weird team. They have great talent. AJ Green's phenomenal. Giovanni Bernard's a great backup running back. I mean, he doesn't even start, and the guy is a great slot receiver. I like the talent that the Bengals do have. It's just all coming down to if Andy Dalton's going to play or not, I think. I don't think they'll win with A.J. McCarron going to the Super Bowl.
And that's what I think is interesting about the Bengals is so far their little crutch or whatever you want to call it, their issue that they've had to overcome in the postseason has been the play of Andy Dalton.
Right. Yeah.
And yet right now we're looking at, can they have him back for the postseason?
Yeah.
Because
Well, you don't realize what you have until you lose it. And A.J. McCarron's super strong arm. I mean, the guy can throw a mile. But he's not as smart as Andy Dalton. And smart, wow, that's probably not the right word. Experienced is not.
There you go.
Yeah, as Andy Dalton. So the Red Rocket is going to be missed by the Bengals, I believe, if he is not ready to go playoff time.
oh, for sure.
If he's not available, I mean, A.J. McCarron's going to play well, and they're going to have all their weapons that they do. But I'd feel much more comfortable with Dalton in the back, taking the snaps versus McCarron. So you got the Bengals and the Patriots for Jason.
Yep. I got the
One
Bengals
Mike
and the
is going to
Patriots.
go with for AFC.
You just can't bet against the Patriots. I just can't do it. Can't do it. Third in the league in points scored, fourth in total offensive yards, second in passing yards, however 29th in rushing yards at 88.9 per game. And usually I'm pretty traditional. I like to see a team that plays defense really well and runs the ball well, ball control style. When you got Tom Brady, a quarterback that elite, I think you can kind of get away with it. Plus, their defense even is eighth this season in points allowed, only allowing 19.7 points a game.
Yeah, that's a big stat that doesn't get talked about, actually, for a top 10 defense for the Patriots. Everybody only talks about Tom Brady.
Right, and so they've got a pretty decent balance again, like they did back when they won 3 out of 4 Super Bowls 3 out of 4 years. Because back then they had Teddy Bruschi, they had Vince Wilfork was at the top of his game. They had Richard Seymour at the top of his game. They had, Asante Samuel, Rodney Harrison, just very good defensive players. And they were a lot more balanced than they took care of the ball and got things done, even with Tom Brady still. So I think they're kind of my favorite to come out of the AFC into the Super Bowl and the playoffs. And then I've got kind of a sleeper for my second team. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are really
Nice.
maybe not a surprise, but they're pretty young on defense ish. Like I said before, Justin Houston, Tomahali come off the outside edge from their outside linebacker positions, get some good pressure.
Yeah.
Mike DeVito, he's a solid run stopping left end who doesn't get a lot of credit. He gets the job done. Marcus Peters at corner, you got to kind of worry. He is a rookie covering these big time receivers in the postseason. You got to make sure you keep his head level, but if he stays on track, then he's definitely going to be a huge upside for the Chiefs. And then as we talked about earlier, Jamal Charles goes down, and yet still Sharkhandrick West
takes it and carries it on his back like nothing changed. And
Right.
it was better for Chiefs actually overall, like you were saying.
Right, and he's not quite up to the same production, obviously, that Jamal Charles was, but like at least this year, Alex Smith is throwing touchdowns to wide receivers. He's got some weapons to throw to. He's got Travis Kelce, Jeremy Maclin, both can play the game. Maclin definitely an established player in this league. So I would definitely look for the Kansas City Chiefs, especially, you're coming off a 9-game win streak after starting the season 1-5. They definitely learned from some mistakes and they've made it through. I think they look to keep this hot streak going and potentially go deep into the playoffs.
Nice, very nice.
So we got the Chiefs and the Patriots, which I like. The Chiefs, man, you look at their stats and they're not top ranked for anything. Running, passing, and they rank 7th in rushing, which is okay. But passing, it's like top 20, I think. And points per game is like 22nd. Alex Smith's at 3,300 yards this week, or Sharkhandrick West 600 rushing yards. So it's a weird team. Nobody's blowing up.
Well,
Peters
and like I said before, they run the ball and they play defense. They're 9th in
defense,
offensive scoring, 7th in rushing yards. However, 25th in total offense and 28th in passing yards. But they can get by with that when you're 2nd in defensive scoring.
Absolutely. Marcus Peters, like you said, 8 interceptions this year. I'm pretty sure that's league leading. I'm pretty sure. Last time I checked, it was 6 or 7. So that's a huge thing. And like you said, defense wins championships. So
all the time.
with Alex Smith, the
Johnny Manziel.
Could be Johnny Manziel in the future. He gets it done because his defense. No question. When you don't have to put up 50 points in a game because your defense is doing well, you're good. So they'll be good to score 15 to 20 points a game. I don't know why I said 15, 14 to 21 points a game, and their defense is going to hold you to 14. So you're going to win. So I like the Chiefs, and the biggest thing with me is just those stats. It's hard to get by those, the passing, and Alex Smith has developed a lot, and speedster, but it's going to be interesting, like you said. So I will go. I'm not going to take the Patriots for the AFC. I'm looking for them to get upset, and maybe it's just because I want it to happen, but I would take the Bengals and the Jets at this point.
Okay.
And
fair enough.
Okay.
The Jets are top 5 offense right now. Brandon Marshall and Ryan Fitzpatrick are on a new level. Chris Ivory is a great running back. You don't hear a lot about him, but he is a bruiser. He'll run right at you, and he has good games.
He runs very hard, and they've had Bilal Powell that's stepped up pretty well as well.
And then not to mention their defense as well. I like the Jets' offense better than I do like their defense, but they've been playing good ball, and the way they played with the Patriots, I look for them to just improve week over week again in the playoffs, and they don't have young people. Brandon Marshall, not a lot of playoff experience. Not a lot of success, but he's been there. He's a reliable player.
Yeah.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's been in the league for a few years,
Oh, yeah.
And those are probably the 2 main vets. The Eric Decker as well too has been there for a couple years. But that's important. The guys who have been there to explain that to the players that this is what happens, this is what we experience, and this is what we expect. It makes a big deal. So I like the Jets in that aspect. I just like the way that they move the ball. They play well with everybody that they play, and their defense doesn't put up a lot of points either, or doesn't allow the offense to put up a lot of points. The Bengals, I like that pick, but it's a tough pick because they have not played very, very well the last couple weeks. And it's just been hit or miss. Like Andy Dalton will have a huge game and then an okay game. Now, he's been great all year, and I say this as a fantasy football owner of Andy Dalton, that it's just been really tough to figure out what the Bengals are going to do each week in and out. When they're really hot, all of a sudden they turn cold. When they're really cold, all of a sudden Andy Dalton just goes nuts. So if the Bengals play the ball that they can, I look for them to go to the AFC Championship versus the Jets. I don't know if that actually can happen, but those would be my top 2 AFC teams
Nice.
right now.
Well, I think we have to see how this last week plays
Yeah,
out.
of
and
course.
finish out the seedings and to make sure whether that is plausible or not.
Absolutely. So we will actually wrap up this week with our top 2 teams, and we will follow up next week, next Tuesday, most likely, or Monday,
Yeah, one of
for
those.
Fantasy Lunch Bunch episode 2, week 17, to look to kick off the playoffs and give you guys exactly the information that you were looking for going forward for the NFL season. Check us out. We will be fantasylunchbunch.com on Facebook and Twitter.
Yep.
Little shout out to RageLifeFamily.com, one of our sponsors. Johnny Rage Life has a show tonight at the Valor Ballroom. New Year's Eve counting down 2016. He's doing a cash balloon drop, and he is the headliner. So check him out on Facebook, guys. It's Johnny Rage Life. Very popular Iowa DJ, so give him a like on Facebook. Check us out as well, like we were saying, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. We will be on all the main social medias, and look for us to get better as well. Thanks for bearing with our first podcast. We have been all over the place, and it's been an experience, but we will only get better from here. So.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, you guys, and we look forward to bringing you another episode next week.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yep. Have a good one.